Gachiakuta episode 2. So, kicking off with a bit of a flashback with Rudo and how he sees how the sphere people are treating everything, and how he feels a bit concerned that nobody has really put any value into people or things, and instead just throws him out in the pit. And he wonders, and he actually questions a bit like how this world works, and how he feels like, um, do we know what happens to everybody and anything that goes down in the pit? And it's really interesting, like, because unlike the rest of the people, Rudo actually has some questions, and he is really just like the black sheep of the community, both from the people that are rich in the sphere and the other folks that are not. And as it starts panning out, you see Rudo's eye, and it just looks like menace, like kind of like not menacing, but it looks kind of crazy, like something's turning in Rudo's eye. And we have Rudo being attacked by the trash beast. So he's just it's just really, Rudo's having a hard time, like, in this pit. Just he's realizing that the air quality is so bad, like he feels like his lungs are about to burst. And meanwhile he's being chased by these trash beasts that he has no idea how to actually defeat or what their purpose is. So there's a lot of things going on that Rudo's not quite aware of yet, but at the same time he does realize at one point that if that he needs to not die here. So he makes a vow to himself, like, I'm gonna start. I'm gonna. I can't die yet. I have to start and get revenge for what happened to me and what happened to Recto. I have to live on, and I have to avenge and and beat the guy that put to justice the guy that ended Recto. So we start seeing how his gloves just started emitting some sort of like frequency or like some rays, and his eyes started getting crazy. And as soon as he's able to like um get away from his funk that he was having, right, he starts seeing like objects that are starting to glow. And so I'm starting to wonder if Rudo, when he starts going crazy, if he starts to see like life within objects, or if that's just something he knows instinctively. But he does grab a lot of the objects that have light to them, so he obviously knows to go for them. And while he's using these objects, he is putting up a better fight to the trash beast, to the point where, like, even now, like, it seems like every time the gloves pick up something, they glow. So like the gloves are themselves are straightening uh whatever object Rudo picks up. He picks up this like uh side piece, and he's able to slice the trash beast. But unlucky for Rudo, the trash beasts are not letting up, and the air quality starts to get to him, and he starts kind of dipping in strain, dipping in consciousness a bit. And luckily though, Engine shows up. The This guy with an umbrella shows up, who's Engine later on, and he tries to get Rude. He tries to get Rudo to not be too loud, because the trash beast can kind of detect sound and kind of go towards wherever sound is. So, but because Rudo kept asking and asking questions to Engine eventually shouted, and the trash beast arrived. And we see Engine does give Rudo a mask, so he is able to breathe a lot easier. He doesn't have to worry about like his lung collapsing now, or his lung giving out now. And this was really well animated. How Engine's able to use some sort of power to turn his umbrella into an actual weapon to fight these many like trash beasts. And I do love how his combat has to do with him flying in an umbrella, and uh, smashing down on beasts. It kind of reminds me, at least when he's floating, it kind of reminds me a bit of like Princess Peach from Mario. And yeah, no, like easily Engine just like takes care of the trash beasts, and then Rudo kind of is like, okay, well, boom, passes out, and then Engine's kind of dragging him along, and Rudo is like still has a lot of questions. He wants a lot of answers, and he does get on Engine's nerves. So Engine decides, okay, well, he answers him like one thing, which is that it's impossible for him to go back to the sphere, which is what Rudo wants. And one of the reasons that we get is this is really good world building in general for Gachiakuta, is that the sphere is always moving. Meanwhile, the people that are down are not. So as this sphere moves around, and it's so high up, which makes it unlikely that they're able to go up there as well. It makes it really hard to pinpoint exactly where the sphere is going to be, and that is the biggest hurdle for Rudo right now, figuring out where the sphere is going to be located. And of course, like, how is he going to go back up there is the other one. I do love though that we do have like this mini flashback right before, where Rudo is, you really see Rudo's character and how he handles being bullied by other kids and being ostracized by other kids, and in that he allows himself to get hurt, he allows himself to get bullied. And when Recto asks him, like, did you punch him or did you hit him, did you do anything back to him, and he's like, no. But he does he does tell him that he wishes that people would care about objects, and they go into the whole thing about how, like, if you give enough love to an object, it'll eventually inhabit a soul, which turns out it is definitely how the power up to Engine works. I'm pretty sure Engine has had this umbrella for a while and has given it enough love and care that now the soul that inhabits this umbrella is what allowed him to power it up and be able to defeat Trash Beast with it. And yeah, so Engine drops off Rudo to this random place where, like, people are like, "Oh, are you from the sphere?" And Rudo, being the good kid that he is, the honest kid that he is like, "Yeah, I'm a sphere." And then they call him a spherite, and then they tie him up in the truck. And this is where we really get where, like, the naivety kind of like backfires a bit in Rudo, because he wants to know so much about this world that he doesn't realize that the people that are here in the pit, or as they call it, the ground, actually hate people from the sphere, because the reason why everything in the ground is so bad and it's so toxic and it's run by trash based is because the spherites, or the people from the sphere, actually dump all their trash in there, and then as they keep dumping more and more trash, it eventually starts getting more and more toxic, which allows trash beasts to actually become what they are. And my theory to that is that because the trash beasts were once objects that were, or various objects that once had a lot of care to them, and then were dumped after they got too old or too filthy, that the soul that inhabit them became negative, and it eventually piled up to become the trash beast that it is. But yeah, they start mocking Rudo about him being a spherite and how, like, he probably had the best of food over there, and that he probably won't last a minute there, and they start feeding him food, and that's from the ground. It's like, oh, you probably think this is disgusting. Just look at you. I loathe you. I can't even stand to look at you, but you are gonna fetch us a good price. So that's another thing. A lot of, even when people dump spherite people here, those have certain values, because we know that every part of the spherite person can sell well in the market that's in the ground. So imagine catching one that's alive, hardly unheard of, which that's another thing we have to figure out how Rudo was able to live the fall. Still unexplained. It could be something to do with the whatever Rudo saw as he was falling down, or it could just be that he got lucky enough and didn't die from the fall. One of those two things has to kind of pay off. But because he's alive, he's gonna fetch a good price for these kidnappers or these human traffickers. And Engine just kind of on the side, just looking on. And Rudo, after the guy tries to shove food down his mouth, Rudo actually bites off the guy's finger, which is crazy. I had forgotten completely how unhinged Rudo is at times, especially early on. And yeah, Rudo was like, yeah, I'm a spherite, but like, who cares about that? All these labels that you keep trying to put on me, I hate them. I hate you. I hate the people up there, and I'm not dying until I get my revenge on the people up there. And he's like, even this food that you're giving me, it has value. Just like Recto told him, like, everything has value. Even the towels he uses to wash them, even the seats you sit on, everything has value if you give it value. So Rudo got some strength back by eating the disgusting food that they provided him. And then his power kind of kicked in, and he was able to use the chains that they had him chained in as part of like his weapon. Kind of like how Engine was able to use his umbrella. These chains turned into weapon now that he could use. But unlike Engine, once Rudo started like going after other objects and turning them also into weapons, Engine kind of was like in shock, and everybody was also kind of in shock, like, whoa, you can do that to more than one weapon. So in this world, it is an anomaly that someone can have more than one weapon and give it a soul. And I do like that Engine does show up in time for Rudo not to end up killing these people that were trying to make money out of him. And he kind of stops him, and it's like, all right, well, listen, you're pretty strong. I'm sorry I left you here all alone. I just needed to make sure that you were not that you were worth me keeping around. And it's like, but you were quite strong, so like, I would like to invite you to the janitors. It's like, I'll even give you like all the info that I possibly can from this world, or any other questions you have. And he's like, he starts telling him like how the people that can give soul to an object are known as givers, and he is one of the few that is able to do that. So it's a rare anomaly to have a giver, and it's even rarer for them to have more than one object that they're able to give soul to. So Rudo is looking kind of like busted early on, but also like there's obviously gonna probably be some limitations later on to his power. But yeah, becoming a janitor is the best way for Rudo to find out about this world. But yeah, no, this was really well adapted, so much better than the last episode. I think if you watch episode 1 and episode 2 back to back, it is a much better experience. So I'm giving this one a 10 out of 10.